All right, today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and, let's be honest, terrifying concepts out there, the Buddhist idea of hell. We're going to be looking at some ancient texts, like the Kṣitigarbha Sutra, that describe these worlds of just unimaginable torment. But here's the twist. These graphic descriptions, they're not just scary stories. They actually point to something way more profound about the nature of our own minds.
So this is the big question that really hangs over this whole topic. I mean, why go to such lengths to catalog all of these elaborate, specific, and frankly horrifying torments? It's really easy to just write it off as simple fear-mongering, you know? But the sutra is pointing towards something so much deeper, something about the very architecture of our own consciousness.
So before we can even get to the why, we have to grasp the what. And the very first thing you need to understand is just the sheer scale of it all. We are not talking about one single place called hell. Nope. We're talking about a vast, almost incomprehensible landscape of suffering.
You see, the text describes countless different hells. There's the most severe one, known as the Great Avicii Hell. That's the hell of non-stop suffering. But what's so wild is that most of these aren't just generic punishment zones. Instead, they are literally named and shaped by the specific negative actions, the karma, of the people who end up there. It is a completely tailor-made reality of suffering.
Okay, and this is where it gets incredibly graphic. The text gives us this detailed list, almost like a dark catalog, of all the different kinds of suffering you can experience. It's a journey into some pretty intense imagery, so let's just look at a few examples.
I mean, the creativity of the torment is just incredible. Some of these hells are defined entirely by tools and objects. Just imagine a reality filled with flying knives, or raining fire arrows, or being crushed by these massive iron chariots. These aren't random, though. They're seen as a direct manifestation of a person's violent, aggressive, karmic energy.
And the torment doesn't just stop with inanimate objects. Oh no, it can also take the form of these monstrous, demonic animals. There are entire hells populated by fire elephants, fire dogs, and firehawks, where the very creatures of the world are twisted into instruments of suffering.
And then you get the hells that focus directly on the human body. And these are often tied to very specific sins. The tongue-plucking or tongue-plowing hells, for example, well, those are the consequences of harmful speech, of lying, slander, and divisive words. It's a direct physical manifestation of the harm your words have caused.
So all of this might seem completely chaotic and random, but there's a precise, inescapable logic that's governing this entire system. It is not arbitrary cruelty. It is the law of karma, where the punishment is a direct reflection of the crime.
Right, and this is the crucial point to get. In the Buddhist view, hell isn't a place you're sent to by some angry god or a celestial judge. Not at all. It is the natural, unavoidable result of your own actions. You literally create your own hell through your deeds, your words, and your thoughts. It's a self-manifested reality.
This symbolism goes right down to the very materials of hell. Elements like copper, iron, stone, and fire. They aren't just there for effect. They represent how our negative energy, our anger, our greed, our ignorance can become hardened and solidified. Our harmful actions literally become as dense and heavy as iron and as scorching as fire. And this brings us to a really critical reinterpretation. What if this entire terrifying landscape isn't a physical place you go to after you die? What if it's something else entirely? Many modern interpretations see this not as a cosmic map, but as a map of the human mind. So, the literal view sees hell as an external place you go for punishment after death. But the psychological view, it reframes the whole thing completely. In this interpretation, hell is an internal state of suffering, a projection of our own mind that we can experience right here, right now.
And when you look at it this way, that whole catalog of hells suddenly becomes this kind of taxonomy of psychological pain. The burning hells? Well, that's the internal experience of uncontrollable rage. The crushing hells, that's the feeling of being suffocated by overwhelming stress and anxiety. And the argument hell, that's a mind that's just trapped in endless internal conflict and judgment. See, these are states we can all recognize. So this ancient text can be read as an incredibly sophisticated diagnostic manual for the mind. Each hell describes a specific mental affliction, a way the mind can trap and torture itself. It's basically a field guide to human suffering, written thousands of years ago.
Which brings us right back to our original question, why describe all of this? If it's just a map of our own minds, what's the point of making it so terrifying? Well, the goal isn't just to scare us, It's to make us look in the mirror.
The purpose here is really twofold. First, it's a powerful warning. The graphic imagery is meant to shock us out of our complacency and force us to reflect on our own behavior. And second, that reflection is meant to lead to repentance, and not just feeling sorry, but a genuine change of heart that leads to a change in how we act.
This is exactly why you see these incredible, really detailed murals of the hells painted in so many Buddhist temples. They aren't just religious horror art. They function as a public mirror, a communal tool for introspection, reminding everyone who sees them to check their own actions and motivations.
Ultimately, the power of this idea is that you don't even need the full graphic description. The text itself suggests that just hearing the names, the flying knife hell, the tongue-plowing hell, is enough to make you pause, reflect on your own life, and maybe consider a different path.
So the hell of the sutra isn't just some place of fire and iron waiting for us after we die. It's a profound, if terrifying, map of the human potential for self-inflicted suffering. It's a warning, it's a mirror, and it's a diagnostic tool. Which it leaves us with one final, very personal question to think about. If hell is a map of our own suffering, what does your map look like today?